and welcome to video number 3 out of 3 for the Women in Architecture Mentoring Program. My name is Katya Veleva and I'm your guide through your materials. In this video we're going to talk about the GROW model. The GROW model is a method that could be used in coaching and mentoring. It's very helpful to get you through a session, but it could also be applicable to any other situation in which you're trying to achieve a specific goal. So once you get a hang of this, you can really apply it to many professional situations. So, the GROW model. It's a convenient acronym, don't we all love one? And it's essentially a framework of questions to move you through identifying your goal, inspecting the reality of the situation, building up a large pool of options, and then choosing from that and committing to action. Now in the first stage, the G stage, you really need to establish the goal. You need to ask, what do you want? What do you really in a Spice Girls kind of way want? It's important to establish the goal in tangible ways. Think about SMART goals. Think about asking, how will you know that you've achieved what you've achieved? Because, for example, so often people come to mentoring trying to improve their confidence. But how wide is the confidence? How tall is the confidence? Try and establish a real defined specific thing to aim for. So is it that your mentee would like to be so confident that they can address an audience? How large of an audience would they like to address? Is it that they want to improve their confidence so that they can have a specific conversation with someone superior? What is it that's going to make them know that they've achieved what they want to achieve? Then earlier in some of those videos I mentioned, I'll give you some alternative to why questions. Why questions could be a little bit intimidating and can close the discussion. But in order for you to support your mentee as much as possible, it's really important for you to know what's behind them wanting to achieve that goal. How will achieving that goal benefit them? How does that connect to their values and to what they want in the grand scheme of things? So that when things inevitably become a little bit rough, you can pull onto that and remind them what they're aiming for. Remind them how achieving this goal will benefit them. That's an important question to ask. And last but not least, when do you want to achieve it? I like to say, if there's no deadline, nothing comes to life. Commit to a specific deadline, because you can discuss things like that forever and ever, but if you put things down in a calendar in a specific way, it's much more likely that your mentee achieves them. Moving on, in the reality stage, it's important to get to know your mentee a little bit better. Try and ask them what they've done so far to achieve that particular goal. And they would have done things. Trust me on that. People who seek mentoring will often be quite proactive, so they will have done something. And even just reaching out to you is already something having done. But also, often they may not want to mention some things that may have been too challenging or they may not have been successful in doing. And this is also a good moment to examine that. Try and get to know your mentee and understand what is actually challenging for them specifically. Because people are different. For some people, it can be very challenging to get out of bed in the morning. Some people, like Eddie Izzard, for example, run 28 marathons in a month. People have different challenges. Use this opportunity to get to know your mentee better. Again, another opportunity not to ask a why question. Don't ask why haven't you done this so far, but try and asking what has been stopping you from achieving this particular thing. Because in this case, you'll be able to focus on specific problems that need resolving. Now, once you've had a good look at what the reality of the situation is, in the O stage for the options, your goal is to create as big of a list of options as possible for your mentee to choose from. When we feel like we have a choice, we're really capable of going for the best solution possible. If we feel cornered, it's much harder to go for the right decision. So ask them, what could you do? And it may be helpful to clear here that you're not asking them to commit to anything. It's just a could. What's a possibility? And then go, what else? What else? Keep asking what else. Again, it may be helpful to just tell them you're not looking for a specific answer, but you're trying to help them expand their mind. And at one point they say there isn't anything else to say. Push them for 2 more. Try and create hypothetical situations. in the handbook, I've suggested the question, what would Zaha Hadid do in this particular situation? What would you recommend your friend doing? What if you had all the time and money in the world? Trying to push them a little bit further from their comfort zone. And trust me, from practice, I can tell you right here is where the valuable options start coming up. Once you've created this amazing list of things that your mentee could do to pursue the next step towards their goal, then you need to ask them to commit. So what will you do? From this big list of things that we've discussed, again, very helpful to write them down. What will you do? Maybe ask them what's the easiest or cheapest thing to do. Then get them to commit to a specific time. When are you going to do this? Next week? Not an acceptable question. On Tuesday? Still not. On Tuesday at 10 in the morning? Can work. Be very, very specific and try to get them to commit to a realistic time frame, because very often people just throw an answer to a question like that and be like, oh yeah, I'll do it tonight. How realistic is it you'll do it tonight, considering you have an hour's commute and then maybe dinner and so on? Try and push them for the best, most likely time that they'll do it. And by this time, because you're an amazing mentor, your mentees are going to be full of enthusiasm and ready to go. And it's helpful to bring them down to earth a little bit, to give them maybe the last shield that you'll give them, the last weapon that you can give them, and ask them what might stop them from taking that particular action that they're committed to. Now, things will happen and they will know what might stop them. So if they spend a minute thinking about what the potential solution is, it's going to be much easier for them to actually get over that hump. Because if they don't get over the first hump, they're not going to continue forward. And this compromises the whole process that you're part of here. So try to give them that first line of defense by asking them what might stop you and what are you going to do about that. This for you is the GROW model. Hopefully it will help you guide you through some of the mentoring sessions that you have. And again, we trust you, trust yourself. If you feel there are more appropriate ways to conduct your sessions, please do that. This has been all from us. We hope that the materials we've provided are sufficient for you, but always, please do feel free to contact us. Happy mentoring!